A slip and fall accident, even a minor one, can have major effects on your health and life. A slip and fall accident can happen anytime, anywhere, and most often when you least expect it. And for the 8 million Americans who have to visit the hospital each year, their day probably started out just like any other normal day. And then suddenly, their average day becomes anything but average. And then you have to deal with the fallout. And this is something that's repeated thousands of times a day, day after day. Now, it could be something as small as a few bruises or as bad as traumatic brain injury. Broken bones are quite common, back injuries, cracked or broken ribs, the list goes on and on. And you having to deal with the fallout I mentioned could just be a day off from work and an ice pack. But what if it isn't a day off of work and a frozen bag of peas on an ankle or elbow? What if the fallout is a week or a month in a hospital and weeks or months of physical therapy? And what if you're the primary breadwinner in your home? You have a family to support. Suddenly, that slip and fall accident could seriously affect your life for years to come. Now, unless you're hurt on the job, you can't work, so your paycheck every other week goes bye bye, which means your rent doesn't get paid, your water bill, your gas bill, electric bill, phone bill. These things don't pay for themselves, and the services you pay for each month start getting shut off. Do you think the companies that provide these services really care what happened to you? My guess, they couldn't care less, probably because usually at the end of every month, they get calls from people with some story about why they can't pay their bill. Now, before you start thinking about committing Harry Carey, why don't you ask somebody who knows exactly what you're going through and has the answers to the question you almost certainly have? You need someone who knows the law, and a phone call is all it takes to get the help you need.